Chairman, my Lord, ladies and gentlemen, shh. Pray silence for the new Commissioner of Police of the Metropolis, Mr. Bernard Hogan-Howe.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, I didn't realise I was following such a great speaker. Otherwise, I would probably not have turned up here tonight. I met Dr. Rami at an event last week, and he invited me here tonight. I explained that I'd already got one event on, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. So it just seemed to be a great opportunity to come and say hello. I know I'm not able to stay all evening, but the reason I came is just to show my support for the Sikh community within London. I suspect there are a few people I'm the relatively new Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, a role that I'm incredibly proud to have been selected for. I've now been in the job for 39 days. I hope it lasts for a few more days, but the rate we've been changing commissioners is inevitable. I was only going to say a couple of words because, as Stephen Pound said, I don't want to separate you from your meal. But I did just want to say a couple of things. The first thing is just to say my intention is to create the best police force in the United Kingdom, in the Metropolitan Police. There's some great people in the Metropolitan Police, one of whom is your MC tonight, Andy. 52,000 people trying their best to provide a service for 7.5 million people who live in London and the 2 million people who visit each day. We intend to have a total war on crime, and the idea is to put the criminal on the back foot. So to do everything that's legal, ethical, and in good faith to keep them on the back foot, as protect the good people. The second thing is that I want us to give a total care for victims. Sadly, we cannot prevent every crime, neither can we always arrest the people responsible. But for every person who's a victim, they demand, I believe, our care. And victims are approached in different ways. Sometimes they have psychiatric illness, sometimes they may not hear too well, sometimes they may be speaking a second language. I don't really care what their needs are, but our job is to try our best to meet those needs. And that's what I intend we will do. And I think we'll do that in the best way if we do it in a totally professional way. And that's whether we professionally find out the criminals or we professionally help victims. It's a vast task. I've said to the Met, I approach them with 3 values. The first is humility, because I think it's important that if there are good ideas elsewhere, whether within London or outside London, then we listen and we learn. The second is integrity. There's no such thing as part-time integrity. We either have it or we don't. And the reason we get public support is because we're reasonable and because we have that integrity. And that's the way that I believe that we maintain a great police service. And the final point is transparency. If we're good, then we should be able to explain it, and if we're not, we should be held to account for it. But either way, you and the rest of London has a right to demand of us the best, to hear your explanations if we get it wrong. And sometimes we will get it wrong. I hope you will find in me a Commissioner who will drive performance to be better, to support the people of London, and particularly the Sikh community. I think you'll find in me a great partner. And I know you've got a great community spirit, as is exemplified here tonight. You have some great traditions, and the things I went through in terms of values, your communities have for many years. So I think courage, along with integrity, and along with many other things that your community has had for many years, is something I want the Met to exemplify. And my final bit, we need more people in the Metropolitan Police to represent the people with police. So I'd encourage your families to think about the Met as a profession. And people don't always do that, but I think they should. Because we need to show that in the way we look and the way we are, that we're from all communities, not some. And when you take my role, which leads 52,000 people, has a budget of £3.5 million, I'm not saying anything about my skill level, but we need some really skilled people to do various jobs in that organisation. It's a complex job. It may be simple in intent, but we need real talent. So I really encourage the Sikh community to think of their children and their young people, to think of us as a great employer, and I want to see them working more in the Metropolitan Police for the future. But thank you very much for the time you spent listening. I'm sorry if I've delayed your dinner, but I wanted to make sure I was here tonight just to say a few words of welcome. So thank you very much.
Arguably the finest commissioner we had. And now we move to the awards stage. May I invite Mrs. Indi Ojla to introduce the first recipient of the Sikh Jewel Award. May I also invite Mr. Chani Singh to move to the middle of the dance floor, and Mr. Virendra Sharma to present the award.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present the citation for Mr. Chani Singh. Chani Singh, fondly known as the godfather of Bhangra, moved to England in 1977 and realised that the Asian youth had very few links with their heritage. Fusing Eastern and Western instrumentation, he formed the legendary band Alap, creating a new modern sound, and became responsible for changing the entire face of Punjabi music, paving the way for other artists. Chani's successful 34 years in the music industry has been much to be proud of, touring the world and performing at prestigious venues, appearing in the Guinness Book of Records, and receiving countless awards such as Best Singer, Best Live Band, Lifetime Achievement Award, and also achieving platinum status, to name but a few of his achievements. Chani's contribution to Asian culture through the art of music has been immense, and he is an asset to our community. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Chani.
My dear friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really honored to receive this very prestigious award from the British Sikh Association of UK, recognizing my services to the music industry, to the community at large, and to the country. I'm humbly proud of the fact that, with God's blessings, I, along with my band, Alap, changed the entire face of Punjabi music in whole of the world and brought our culture back to our youngsters in UK when it was almost forgotten. 3 decades ago, Punjabi music was only limited to villages in Punjab and a limited number of Punjabis living in the Western world. But now it is respectfully recognized not only by Punjabis, but by those people as well who even don't speak or understand Punjabi language. From small parties to Bollywood and Hollywood, artists in the mainstream are all well acquainted with Bhangra music now. In short, recognition of Punjabi music came with Alap. I'm thankful to all my friends, fans, well-wishers, media, record companies, and who have always supported me. The prize goes to all of you, to my dear wife, Tano, and to my beautiful daughter, Mona Singh, sitting over there. And above all, to my mom and dad. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Rami and the British Sikh Association. Thank you.